What's going on, people? It's your friendly neighbourhood Gromit, and welcome back to the new vinyl update for it's September the 1st today. These are my vinyl pickups for the month of August. So firstly I want to mention that I've got a brand new vinyl storage box, kind of like a flight carrying case, off one of my dad's friends. So big thank you to him. It's I'm keeping most of my really precious, beautiful vinyl in there. And as it's been another really good month of picking up vinyl for me. Not actually a lot of singles this time around. In fact, I don't think I'm really going to show any singles. I got one or two, and they were kind of 50p bargain bin singles. But yeah, so today I'm going to go through the records that I've picked up, and there's a lot of really good ones in there this month, a lot of ones that I've been wanting for a while, a lot of returns to the collection, and there might be one or two as well that you might have saw in my previous video where I went over my top 10 most listened to records. But those ones in there were, records that I've had for years, but I've picked up new copies, blah blah blah. And the sort. So yeah, let's start off with, there was a new shop that's opened up local to me recently. Well, it's officially opening on Monday. This is the 1st September today. But I got to go in and have a little sneak around before its official opening, and I picked up the Ramones Rocket to Russia. This is the 2011 180 gram vinyl repressing of it. I like the Ramones. Yeah, and when you see a Ramones around, I'll pick it up. I mean, for the price I got for this, it was like a tenner. So not bad for the 180 gram reissue of it. Their second album. And yeah, it's a good album. I mean, it's got Rockaway Beach on there, one of their most popular tracks. Sheena's a punk rocker as well, of course. But I like Teenage Lobotomy, and Surfing Bird, cover of Surfing Bird on there. We're a Happy Family and Cretin Hop. It's good on this album as well. So yeah, then I picked up two Blondie albums, Plastic Letters and Parallel Lines. They're two most popular albums, I'd say. These are the most popular 70s albums anyways. And they're original. There's the inner sleeve for Parallel Lines, and this one is actually a Portuguese pressing or a Spanish pressing or something, I'm not too sure, but it says Estéreo. So yeah, I'm assuming that's Mexican, Spanish, Portuguese, something like that, I don't know. But yeah, those are some Blondie albums. So, moving on now, a lot of these albums in here actually, I'm just going to be picking through my box and picking out the ones that I have picked out and put into my beautiful new vinyl box. And starting off, we have a really crisp, nice copy of With the Beatles here. This is a first pressing in mono, and this has both the errors, has its original rice paper inner, Emitex inner, and I'll get close to the camera here so you can see that this has You Really Got a Hold on Me instead of Got a Hold on Me, and also money there is credited to Joe Beat Music instead of Dominion Belinda, which the later pressings of this have. And this is a really, really nice copy overall. Very quiet, especially for With the Beatles. Please Please Me and With the Beatles, you get them, and most of the time they're really scratched up and well loved, I guess you could say. And they were well loved. They were passed around the houses of 14, 15, 16-year-old teenagers back in 1963, when the Beatles were really at their biggest, especially in Britain, the British invasion, obviously, era. And to find a really nice copy of this for about 20 quid I paid for this, it's always lovely to add into the collection. So yeah, With the Beatles. Next up, gonna pull out for you a copy of, let's see what I have in here that I've picked up recently. here we go. Picked up a copy of Aftermath, Rolling Stones. This is an original mono. There's the back there, and show the label here with the original inner sleeve. And there we go. It's got the groove on the label. I don't know too much about Stones records. I like the Stones obviously, but I'm not big into really trying to find out what pressings or which of Stones albums and which ones are rarer. I know that with Aftermath, the very first pressings had like I think if someone can tell me in the comment section, but I believe there was like an outline or a shadow over Aftermath, and those ones are like the true first pressings or whatever, and they're pretty rare to come by. But this is, I guess, a standard first press or a second press, whatever. But yeah, Aftermath. Love me picking up some Stones, and I've really improved upon my Stones collection, because the next one I'm going to pull out for you is Big Hits. Big Hits, High Tide and Green Grass. This is their first compilation album before Through the Past Darkly Volume 2, which was basically this is Volume 1, then blah blah blah. This is pretty poor condition, but I picked it up for about a few quid really. And I picked it up mainly because it's a original pressing of this album on this, what I just think just a remarkably beautiful Decca. It's like a turquoise, like a blinding blue label on this album, and it's in mono, and it sounds quite good, sounds really good. It's got painted black Satisfaction on there and stuff like that. But I mean, that Decca label, I don't know why. Again, if people know the Stones, they could possibly leave a comment below. Why was this album on like blue? Had like a blue label, and I think a green label as well, because usually they're red or and stuff like that. So if anyone knows why it was pressed on a really, I mean, I'm not complaining because it's an absolutely beautiful blue label, but if anyone knows, leave a comment down below. Right, next up I'm going to show a bit of Janis, bit of Joplin, of course. This is Cheap Thrills, Big Brother and the Holding Company. I've been really wanting this record for a long time now, in some kind of original pressing. This is not an original US or an original UK. This is actually a first pressing Dutch album, but it's still on kind of that similar CBS label that you'll see in Europe. And there we go. And yeah, I love this album. It's got just a combination of the two. I first heard that song on Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Johnny Depp movie, of course. I think a lot of people kind of first got their glimmer into Big Brother and the Holding Company from that movie and that particular start. It's almost improvisational, a lot of the music on this album. And Piece of My Heart, of course, is probably one of Janis Joplin's most famous tracks. And yeah, this is just a stunning album, and I'm very happy to have it in the vinyl collection now. Now we're getting on to some big hitters, I guess, some really, really beautiful stuff. We've got some Zeppelin. Zeppelin 2. Yeah. The prices I paid for these Zeppelin albums are great. They're not in the most beautiful of condition, of course, but the records play fine, and that's what matters. Show the inner sleeve there. And this is the second time now in the vinyl haul videos that I can pull out a nice PLUM Atlantic label. There it is right there, inside too. This has, spat on it, Jesus. This has Live and Love and Made spelled with made. It doesn't have wreck like some of them had. But this does have the Lemon song instead of Killing Floor, and it's credited to the band. So it's an earlier pressing. Can't really say with the inner sleeve. I don't know if it's original or not. but it doesn't have a date on it. But my guess would be around, this came out around 1970, something like that, so it's probably not a first pressing. The matrix on this is A4 B5, I think. So yeah, Zeppelin 2 on the PLUM label. Everyone always loves seeing Zeppelin on the PLUM label. And yeah, pick this one up. And if you want to hear more about it, watch my last video on my top 10 most listened to records, and talk a bit more about Zeppelin 2 on that one. But Jesus, that was a voice fucking crack and a half there, my god. Picked up Zeppelin 3 as well. There we go. This is a German sleeve, so it's not an original sleeve. Of course, being the drummer, I've changed the wheels so that John Bonham's face is right there. But yeah, this is a German sleeve, so the you might notice, I think on the UK pressings, the track listing is actually on this side, not this side. So yeah, it's a German sleeve, but the record inside is actually a PLUM label without the Peter Green credit, so it's a bit of a later one, but it's still a PLUM Led Zeppelin 3, which again, just an album that I've been wanting for so long. I've actually never owned a copy of Zeppelin 3 until this is my first one, in what a way to start off, I guess, with getting it on the PLUM label. And this has the original sleeve as well, and it is February 1971. This one was so not 1970 when the album was released, summer 1970. Still an early copy, and the record plays without skipping, and it's quite quiet as well. It's a really nice sounding record. Huge dynamic range on it. It's what a beautiful record this is. So yeah, Zeppelin 3. Don't really need to say much about Zeppelin 3. It's one of my favourite albums of all time, and it's my favourite Zeppelin album, and I'm absolutely humbled to have it in the collection. Final Zeppelin, picked up a copy of The Song Remains the Same. This isn't in the best of condition, and one of the records is warped. Not to a point where it skips or anything, or I'm scared to play it on the turntable. But I paid like £2 for this. In fact, I got this for free with Cheap Thrills, Big Brother and the Holding Company. So I mean, it's free Zeppelin record. And it's a first UK press on the Swan Song label. And yeah, just more Zeppelin to add to my collection. There's nothing wrong with Zeppelin. Everyone loves Zeppelin. And, you know, it's Zeppelin. Absolutely beautiful. Right, what's next? Let's have a look. What's next in here that I picked up recently? A bit of Cliff. Nothing wrong with a bit of Cliff. I love me a bit of Cliff. Everyone knows that I love Cliff. Cliff is my favourite. Cliff is everything. Cliff is God. And I picked up a bit of Cliff. This is Cliff with his Shadows, Me and My Shadows. Should have been called Cliff and His Shadows. And this is on the original Green Columbia label. If you see Cliff around, pick up Cliff. Everyone loves Cliff, especially early Cliff. Cliff is absolutely sensational. So yeah, a bit of Cliff. Why not? Why not throw a bit of Cliff into the mix? And we've got... been really into Atomic Rooster recently, so I picked up Death Walks Behind You, probably their trademark album, Atomic Rooster's trademark album. This has Death Walks Behind You, obviously, but it also has Tomorrow Night, which is probably their most famous track, I'd say, Atomic Rooster's most famous track. But it's got Vogue, Streets, Sleeping for Years, Can't Take No More, Nobody Else, and Gershatzer. Such a beautiful album, really. And I'll show you the record because it's got a nice picture of the band for side one. Kind of I don't know what I would say, but it's kind of ahead of its time in I guess label designing, to actually have a label like that. I think that a lot of bands started to do this in kind of like the 80s and stuff like that, especially heavy metal bands have like kind of these kind of like labels where it's just a picture of the band with, you know, like the name of the band and side one, and then the other side being like that. I guess you could say Vertical were doing it, but not to the extent of literally just having the album cover as your label. But I mean, I didn't buy this for the cover. I bought it for the beautiful, beautiful prog, early proto-metal kind of hard rock, Sabbathy, dark, mysterious music that is on this album. My friend Will actually said that it's almost theatrical, this album. It's almost like a rock opera. So yeah, Atomic Rooster. Had to pick that one up after I listened to it. And I think, no, I picked up Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young's Deja Vu. Again, it's a classic album, really. And I've been getting into, everyone knows I love the Hollies, so of course I like Crosby, Stills and Nash, but I've been getting into them a lot more. This has Teach Your Children in Our House, to the Graham Nash songs in here, which are beautiful. But I also love Almost Cut My Hair, which is a David Crosby pen track. Helpless, Neil Young, of course, who was born in Ontario, Canada, which is where I lived for a few years. I'm a Canadian man, although you wouldn't hear it in my accent because I've lived in England since I was about 4, so I've kind of just adapted to it. But again, this is like a PLUM label extravaganza, this video, isn't it? So yeah, another PLUM label here, and this is so vinyl is just crisp and quiet and beautiful sounding. And yeah, the price I picked this up, about 10 quid I bought this album for. This is in beautiful condition, and I'm really happy to own it in the collection. So I think that's what I'm gonna call this video, the Atlantic PLUM label extravaganza, because we've seen 3 of them in today's vinyl haul. And yeah, I think that might be about it. Let me just double check real quick that I haven't fucking forgot anything. Don't think I have. Yeah, I think that is my vinyl haul for August 2023. This month is going to be huge. This month is going to be major in my vinyl collection, because I'm going back to uni soon, and I'll be out in this city where there's so much record stores around, so much opportunities for buying records, so I can't wait for that. But yeah, thank you for watching this video, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.